So have you ever thought about living in Stamford, Connecticut? I'm going to dig right in right now, show you the pros and the cons of living in Stamford, Connecticut. That's right, let's get in. Before we get started, my name is Marc Giles. I'm a licensed real estate agent as well as a mortgage loan originator, which means I help people like you get qualified to buy houses, and we've got houses all over the place for sale. Today we're talking about Stamford, Connecticut. And before we get started, I want you to like the video, subscribe. I'm going to be bringing you more great content just like this. All right, so we're talking about the pros and the cons of living in Stamford. Now, one of the pros, I don't know if it's a pro or a con, but you decide. It's close to New York City. That's right. So I don't know if you've lived in New York City, but I used to live in New York City. If you're living in Stamford, you have the Metro North. Did you know that the Metro North can whisk you down to Grand Central Station in 45 minutes? That's incredible. So I'm going to say the proximity to New York is a plus. It's about 33 miles if you're driving, and you can get from Stamford to New York City in about 30 to 45 minutes if you're driving. So for me, the proximity to New York is absolutely a plus. So living in Stamford gives you the best of both worlds. You can actually party in New York City or enjoy the big city life, and at the same time, come back to a nice, quieter, relaxing suburban environment and still have the restaurants and bars and kind of things that you might like to go out and have a little bit of nightlife that doesn't get too overblown. Hey, did you know that there are government loans, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA loans that can have you living in a place like this? That's right. Waterfront homes, whether it's a condo, a house, or a co-op, they're all here and they're waiting for you. The U.S. government has put these programs together for first-time home buyers. And even if you own a house now and you want to sell it and move up and have a nicer house, you can do it. Whether you want to leave New York, move to Connecticut, or if you want to stay in New York, you can do it. This right here is Connecticut. It's beautiful. And I'm here as your gateway to get from where you are to where you want to be. So let's do it. Subscribe to my channel, and I'd love to share more with you. Okay, moving on to number 2, which I'm going to say is a con. That is the cost of living in Stamford. Yes, it's quite high. If you look at the cost of living compared to other cities in America, you're going to find that Stamford is probably one of the most expensive cities in the United States. That's right. But I tell you what, it's not as expensive as living in New York. That's right. And why do I say that? Because the average one-family home in Stamford right now is about $660,000, right? Relatively speaking, the quality of life is also quite high as well. Stamford has a beautiful waterfront area with brand new apartment complexes, restaurants. It is all blown out and it is beautiful. So stick around because we're going to talk about number 3, which is Stamford has a thriving job market. Now, I'm going to call that a pro because that offsets the con of the high cost of living. What that means is you can actually get a job in Stamford that will help you afford the cost of living in Stamford. That's right. So you'll be able to earn enough income to buy a house, cover your transportation, cover your entertainment, and do everything that you need to do living in Stamford, Connecticut. And one of the beauties of that is, like we said, there's a lot of fun things to do in Stamford, a lot of towns nearby, the way you can go boating, you can go out into the Long Island Sound, enjoy restaurants. And not only that, but you can go right on down to New York City and have a good old time. Okay, so one other con that I found is number 2. It's the traffic congestion. Now, there's no substitute for getting where you want to get in the time that you want to get there. Now, sometimes in Stamford, you're going to find coming up Highway 95, it gets a little congested. And that's just the way it is because a lot of people are leaving in New York and they're commuting. And sometimes they're going all the way up to Bridgeport, New Haven area. And you're just going to have to get in that traffic sometime, especially around rush hour. So now moving on to number 1, the education in Stamford, from what I understand, is good quality. There's some private schools in Stamford. I read a recent report said there's 14 private schools with over 3,000 students in them. And so you have public schools in Stamford, you have private schools in Stamford. So I advise always do your research. Whatever grade your kids are in, from K to 12, you got to do your research. Go check out the schools, go check out the community, not just the schools, but go to the towns, attend their local meetings, learn what is important to the people who are currently living there, because when you move to a place like Stamford or anywhere else, you always want to get a handle and a feel for what it's like to live there. And now for our bonus tip. I want you to check out the Stamford Museum and Nature Center. That's right, it's got something for everyone. This is about agriculture. At the Nature Center, they have cows, sheep, goats, pigs, and chickens. It's not just a chance to learn about nature, it's a chance for you and your family to learn about agriculture. That's right, farming. Why not? It's a great thing to learn about. Yes, agriculture is important. So, and especially for our children, why not plant some seeds and watch some things grow? That's what I've been doing in my backyard. In fact, I'm going to do a video about growing things in your backyard. So stick with me. I want you to subscribe to this channel. I want you to like the video because I'm going to have more great content just like this and even better coming your way. So while you're at the Stamford Museum and Nature Center, they're going to have all kinds of parks, picnics. They have hiking trails, things that you and the family can do. You can go there and spend an entire day and really just enjoy. And while you're there, tell them I sent you. Why not? Okay, so this is it. I really appreciate you watching my video, and I'm going to have more great content just like this, even better. So comment below because I'd love to hear more about what you want to know about so I can create videos about those topics. Like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends. And also another tip I want to give you is if you're thinking about buying a house or selling a house or both, whatever your goal is, I'm here for you always. Talk to you soon.